Hey guys, it's Hannah, and today we're going to be talking about all of the books that I read in February, which we started the month off a little rough, but then it got even better, which is amazing and what we always love to hear. So I have some 5-star reads, I have some 2-star reads to share with you. I can't believe it's March already, like that is just blowing my mind. Like I know February is a short month, but I can't process that it's already over, and we had a leap day too, so we had an extra day in February. It's just wild to me. This year is already going by so fast, and considering it is March 4th already, my mind is blown. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know what to do. So I'm gonna get on to showing you guys all of the books that I read in February, so let's get into it. First up, starting off with Welcome Home, Caroline. I gave this book 2.5 stars. I could not get into it. It launched me into a little bit of a reading slump. It is an arc, so it is coming out later on this year. So it is coming out April 16th, I believe, of this year. So it is soon. I so desperately wanted to get into this book and I could not do it. It just wasn't it for me. I don't know if it's because I'm kind of in the same like moving home aspect as Caroline was, but I just did not enjoy my time with it. I think other people would. I know a lot of other people would who read this arc earlier, but I just couldn't get into it. And it's all about this girl named Caroline, and she ends up moving home because her dad is having some health problems going on and he has to be out of his like recreational baseball team. So he recruits his daughter to be on this team and take his spot to lead them to the like championships or whatever. It felt like it was more of a character driven story, and I just didn't really even like Caroline that much. Some of the stuff that she did, I was like, oh hell yeah, you're a boss ass bitch, like you are awesome. But then there was other stuff that I'm like, why are you saying stuff like that? I feel like if we were in the same room together, I would not get along with her. And I'm just not really the type of person that likes more character driven stories. I really like stuff with plot. So I feel like this is just one of those stories that's definitely more character driven than plot driven. It just felt like nothing was really even going on. There was like kind of romance thrown in, but it wasn't really there. This whole baseball thing was just kind of weird and like kind of cast off to the side. I don't know, it was really odd because it felt like it was supposed to be a main part of the story, but it just felt like it was on the back burner. And I had to force myself to finish this book, so unfortunately this one did not do it for me. But if you like character-driven stories, you might actually like this one. It's just not my cup of tea personally. So I ended up giving this 2.5 stars. Thank you, NetGalley, for this arc, but let's move on to other books in this month. Next up, I read The Good Part. This is by Sophie Cousins. I gave this 4.25 stars. This is all about this girl who is in her early 20s and she is just wishing she could skip to the good part in her life because everything just seems to go wrong. She has no money. She is trying so hard to work up in her job, which she works in a TV office. Nothing is really working out for her. It's kind of that early 20s thing of where nothing is going right. And I felt that hardcore, and you just want to skip to the good part. But it really emphasizes how you should live in the moment, and I did really enjoy this. I think it was really, really good. I think it was talked about really well, and I do think that the ending was rushed a little bit, and it kind of dragged out in some points, but overall I really enjoyed the message, and I thought it was a really fun and like super fast read. I just like kept reading, and I didn't even know that I just kept going. I think seeing her life and how she was trying so hard to insert herself into her life but in the future was so interesting to me. If you're looking for a like really quick, short, good romance read, I wouldn't say it's even like a romance read. I would say it's more of a character based story. Like you follow more of a coming of age story, I would say, rather than like a straight up romance. Like there is some romance elements into it, but I think that it is definitely more so of character development. With our main character Lucy, I think it just really shows like how much she has grown, and things can change quite honestly in a matter of seconds. So I think they did a really good job with this and I really enjoyed it. Next up I think I gave this 4.75 if not 5 stars. But I read Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carland. My heart my heart, you guys. I was so invested in this book. I read it in one day, in one sitting practically. I think I read this when I was sick, and so I was literally like bedridden, but I was literally obsessed and I wanted more of it. I honestly, it was one of those books where I just wanted to pick it up again and reread it. It felt like a 90s like coming of age, like rom-com. I wouldn't even say it's like comedy, but it just felt like one of those 90s romance movies. And you switch back and forth between past and present. And so we have our two main characters, Matt and Grace, and they met at NYU and they were living right next to each other. I believe they were both seniors that year. They became best friends almost instantly. They ended up striking up a relationship. It was basically just like this one all-encompassing love. Something happened, they fall out of contact with each other. And so we are skipping back and forth between their love stories starting and where they're at now in the future, and rekindling because they randomly meet on the subway, and it's just wild. It's so good, and oh my god, I loved it. I loved it so much. This is just like one of those books that will stick with you for like such a long time. I enjoyed both of their characters so much. Being able to actually see this love story begin and then jump forward and everything that happens after that was brilliant. I loved it. I just felt so satisfied by the end, and I feel like I don't really say that a whole lot when I finish romance books. I always end up wanting more, and like, don't get me wrong, I wanted more. But I feel like for a standalone, it was super satisfying, and it was just so heartbreaking and heart-wrenching and emotional and raw and lovely and just all of the things at the same time. I genuinely got so attached to Matt and Grace and their characters and their love story. It just took me on such a wild journey. Like, there were some parts that I was literally like, are you kidding me? If you have not read this book, go read it. I literally did not know what to do with myself after reading this. And my heart was literally ripped apart and put back together like 50 million times in this. So it's very short. I flew through it. I literally read it in like one sitting. So go read this if you have not. It's beautiful. Next, I read one of my all-time favorite series now. I gotta say, it was just so fun. And it is very popular, so I'm a little bit basic with this, I'm not gonna lie. I'm showing the UK editions. I splurged and bought the UK editions. They're my first UK editions ever because I thought they were so beautiful and I had to have them. I read the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I read this all for a reading vlog, so that'll be coming out soon. It is not even edited yet, so I need to start on that. This video is gonna come out first because we're already into March and this needs to come out. I read Once Upon a Broken Heart, The Ballad for Never After, and also A Curse for True Love. You guys, this book specifically, I literally sat staring at a wall for like 10 plus minutes, speechless, not knowing what to do because I was like I still don't know what to say. I still don't know what to say, and I've already finished the series. It's all about this girl named Evangeline, and she has always believed in true love and love stories and happily ever after, but her love is getting married to her stepsister, and she is absolutely heartbroken about this, and she goes to the Prince of Hearts, who is kind of like a god like in this world. He's called a fate, and he basically makes a deal with her, and in exchange she gives him 3 kisses of like his choosing. Now she's having all of these men fawn after her, and she kind of realizes that she was very naive with this love, and I love the Prince of Hearts. I love him. I love him. His character was just so good and bad, and just some of the stuff he would do, I was like, are you kidding me? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? But I loved him anyways. I think Evangeline does grow quite a lot. Now that I'm like reflecting back on this series, I think she does grow quite a lot in this series. I think she definitely could have had a little bit more growth, but because of things that happen in the second book, it kind of makes sense. It's just like such a fun romantasy that is just, you will fly through them. I think I read all of these in a matter of like 4 days. I'm not even gonna lie. You guys will see more of my thoughts in my reading vlog and my live reactions. I was obsessed, you guys. Like, genuinely, it took over my life. I was having a major book hangover. I have not finished a book since because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, genuinely, I wanted to pick it up and read it again. This one I think I rated the least. It was a little dissatisfying, I'm not gonna lie. I think the ending went by a little bit too fast for my liking. I just wasn't satisfied by the end. And I think it makes sense why the author wrote it like that because of this world that we're in. But at the same time, I was like, no, we built this up, the entirety of these 3 books, and I'm gonna get a one-liner. No thank you. I made a little playlist if you guys want it. It's right here. If you guys go on my Spotify, I have a ton of playlists actually. A lot of them are book related, a lot of them are just like fun. If you guys are interested in that, this is my Spotify. There's like over 50 public playlists and there's more on the way. So I make playlists constantly. So if you guys want this or you want this specific playlist, I will link it down below. All my links are down below. Where I'm selling some of my books on Pango is linked down below. My Twitter, my Instagram. I don't use Twitter very often though. I mostly use my Taylor Swift Twitter. But my Instagram that I'm on all of the time, genuinely posting like every day, at least on my stories. My Pinterest, like anything that you want from me is probably on there. My Goodreads, my live reactions to these books, everything's linked down below. There is that, but I have a whole reading vlog coming out on this, so I'm not gonna say too much more because I need to wrap up my thoughts on this series and just say that I loved it. Enough to buy the UK editions, but also they're beautiful. So like, how could I, are you kidding me? This is the most beautiful book I've ever seen. Are you kidding me? This is beautiful. It literally is facing out on my bookshelf. Do I have the room to face books out on my bookshelf? No, but I made room for this book. Anywho, now that I've ruined my little display over here, we're gonna move on to the very last book that I read this month, which was Unlock Your Storybook Heart. If you know anything about me, I love Amanda Lovelace's writings. I feel like I just have related to a lot of them, specifically like her body image things and just like growing up. This one specifically, I didn't really relate to as much as her others. I still thought it was really good. I just don't think it's her best one, but it was the last one in her little like storybook trilogy, so I did buy it because I was like, I need to complete the collection. This one's more like Beauty and the Beast inspired, and I just didn't really relate to it as much as I had hoped that I would. I still enjoyed it, like don't get me wrong, I do really love her poetry. I got some really good one-liners out of it, but I think overall as a poetry book, I didn't relate to it as much as her others, but it was still good. So these are all the books that I read this month, plus that arc, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you guys read in February, and I will see you guys in my next video very soon. Goodbye, guys.